You are now entering the box. Welcome back inside the box today. Jane Hay with Jane Hay Sales and Staging joins us. Finally.
Happy to be here.
I was going to get the doctor on call, you know. For those that don't know, we've tried to do this about 3 times, and there always seems to be some sort of health issue with somebody that pops up, and feeling a little bit jinxed.
Yeah, made sure I was careful on the way here today. Last time I was on your floor, I think, because my back went out, and then I ended up in the ER. I still think we should have done it.
I think we should have done it on the floor, pivoted a camera.
We tried. You even made me, I think, shotgun a beer or something, trying to get through it, but it didn't work.
Yeah. But I'm glad we're here now.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Of course. So, sorry, it's gunk on me. Yeah, I want to dig in. You know, I've known you a while, so it's always kind of weird doing these when you kind of know a person pretty well already, but I think there's some stuff I still got to learn.
I don't think I'm sharing that stuff.
No. So real estate. You're with the real estate group.
Yes, I'm a partner.
How'd you get into real estate?
So
What'd you used to do?
Okay, well, this is my third career. This was my dream job, I would say. So when I was 19, I started working in law, and I was a legal secretary, and then I became a paralegal, and then I was the office manager for Bruce Beeman's office.
Oh.
And I remember when I was about probably 20 years old, that's really when I knew I wanted to be a realtor. So, like,
really?
Yep.
What was it? Like,
my parents, I think, I don't know, just maybe it's in my blood. My parents, we would go on vacation and we would drive around neighborhoods and look at houses. That was exciting. And it was cheap. So
now you just do it on the phone. I find myself we're on vacation. I'm like, oh, what do they got around here? Anything worth anything?
Yeah. So it's kind of always, my parents built houses in the past for themselves and always had kind of an interest in it. So my mom was a realtor for a short period of time when I was old, when I was probably in high school. And multitasking wasn't quite her, she just didn't really enjoy it as much. But so I kind of knew then, and I remember
got a little taste of it.
Al Young, a little bit, but I really don't really remember my mom. It might have been, I don't know when it was in my, maybe it was when I was younger. And Al Young used to be a client of ours who owned Remax when I was worked for Bruce at the law firm.
Oh, okay.
And so I remember telling Al, like when I was 20, I'm going to be a realtor someday. He's like, okay, well, when you get ready, come talk to me. So, but kind of went a different direction than that when I got there. But then, so I worked for Bruce for 10 years, and then I worked for Judy Bartopinka in logistics, in her.
What was she again?
She was the state treasurer when I worked for her. So did all her briefing.
I remember
and
the
scheduling.
Name from a kid. I don't know why. Just such a unique name.
A fiery redhead. So that's where.
There we go.
Yeah,
I probably would have got along well.
You would have got along.
Or
with
bad.
her well. No,
depends on which direction we go.
Yeah. No.
Are we butting heads or attacking somebody else?
You would like her. She was real. So, and she was. Not always a joy to work for, but she was a really good person. So she was a joy to work. She was just hard. Yeah. Like you work hard, and you're good to people, and so nothing wrong with that. So she never asked you to work harder than she worked herself. So
understandable.
And so then even when I started working for Judy, I told her, like someday I'm going to go off and do my dream job. So my husband went from teaching to administration for a period of time, and so I kind of.
What age was this at? You were working for Judy?
Well, 18, 28, probably 38-ish. I started real estate in 2008.
Okay. Damn, I didn't realize it was
when the
that
crash.
recently.
Yeah. So.
I feel like you told me that before, but I I guess
okay.
I haven't
Got a
thought
lot
about
going
it. Yeah. Right at the crash, though.
Yeah,
Huh?
right at the crash, and that was okay. I took all my husband's pay extra from the teaching to administration, and I saved up money, so I had a year's salary because I thought, well,
Yeah.
someday I'm going to go do it.
Yeah.
You know, I want to do it right. I don't want to ever have to, you know, jeopardize any of my clients' situations because I couldn't pay the utility bills.
Yeah,
or something.
yeah.
So yeah, and then in '08, I was at that point. I was when Judy got out of politics because she lost to Governor Blagojevich.
Turned out well for him, huh?
Yeah. Which we knew that was coming, but the feds weren't as quick as we were. And so I got a job at the Secretary of State. Judy helped me get a job over there and interviewed and I worked in the Real ID department, which is now finally
actually happening.
That's it was
hilarious.
Supposed to happen like
it was there that long ago.
It was supposed to be done like the year I was there, and then he
Holy
kept
shit.
asking for an extension. And you know, I mean, they were requiring certain things that they didn't even have. So
It's
the Secretary of
crazy. You
State
wonder
was-
why it takes so long to get anything
Yeah.
freaking done.
And they were doing the best they could, but they were,
Right.
you know,
Always
demanded to be
something.
done this, and this by a certain date, and you're like, well, that's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
But so then the day after I got vested, just with my 8 years vested, not the full 20, because I'm stupid. I left the state before I was 20 years. I said bye-bye.
So what's the 8 get you? Is that like
The 8
some
gets you
retirement or
vested,
something?
and it gets you a percentage of
Oh, okay.
retirement and health insurance.
you got
But
your
you
8.
have to, with Tier 1, you had to have 8 years.
Gotcha.
So I was actually taking my broker's license and real estate license at night
Yeah.
while I
Nice.
was at the Secretary of State. And then I was
And
doing-
with kids, right, at the same time?
yeah, and then part-time working for the real estate group.
Just like learning
yeah,
different
just
things
kinda
and
starting.
getting your feet wet.
Mhm. And then the day after I got vested,
There.
I left. So and-
Was it scary doing it? Like, I mean, I don't know what your husband makes or whatever. Like you said, you saved up a year, so you had a little bit of a cushion
I had
there.
a year's cushion.
So you were like, I'm going to give this a good go. And
I'd
try
planned for it for
yeah.
20 years. So
Yeah, yeah.
no, I mean, it was everything's, you know.
Well, and state,
Yeah.
I mean, can be a pretty cushy job sometimes, benefits.
It was. I worked I was silly too there. I worked 60, 70 hours a week at the state and never, I was salaried. So
It's like,
I
what am
wasn't
I
getting paid
doing?
extra.
Everyone's like, sucker, just let Jane do it.
So, but no, it was my dream job. So I was super excited about it. And then there's that.
Do you think it was better that you waited that long?
Absolutely. For me, it was. I think that's partly why I've been very successful, or as successful as I have been. I think the law firm taught me contracts, legal ramifications. It also, I ran a business. I did all the books. I did the payroll.
No, okay.
I
You're very
did the
familiar with
budgeting.
got a little bit of a crash course over the years on
So I was
getting
there.
ready.
I was running that office for about 8 years.
Yeah.
So, and then, but when I left, there was, 3 or 4 attorneys and 4 or 5 staff. So, and I wasn't managing them necessarily,
Right.
but all the ordering and the
So was it just you and him at first?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Nice.
Yep.
That's cool.
And so, yeah.
So it sounds like you've always had this work hard,
Work hard, play hard.
Yeah, there you go. Perfect. Perfect way to describe it. Mentality,
Yes.
though.
Yeah.
Okay.
My
I was
family-
gonna ask that, but you
Yeah.
kind of said the
Yeah.
60 hours
Yeah.
thing because it's not very often that you find somebody that's willing to put in what it takes to, and especially now that you have your own business, essentially, you know what I mean? It's a whole different, you actually get to reap some of the rewards
Sure.
of working that hard more
Sure.
so than you probably would otherwise.
Sure. And I felt like when I worked for Bruce, it was kind of,
Well,
we
for
were a
him,
team.
yeah.
We were a team, and that was a good relationship. And I was sad, and he was sad. I still remember the day told him I was leaving. So it was at Norbandy's over a horseshoe.
God, I was trying to think of the name of that place
Yeah.
the other day, and I could not think of it. Norbandy.
Yeah, Norbandy's. Probably a horseshoe and a Bloody Mary. And it was a sad day. But anyway, we're still friends, still talk to him, and I see his family a lot. And so, yeah. So
Awesome. So when you got started, you've lived in
I lived
the
in
area most of your life?
Well, I was originally from Taylorville, and I moved up to Springfield when I was 19, which may have been a few years ago, and then
No college.
I went to a year's worth of business school in St. Louis.
Oh, okay.
I don't know that I could have made it through college.
Yeah.
I like I just wanted to work.
Right.
Like I was a worker.
I need some damn money.
So, and college is maybe not as much work than partying, and I didn't need.
I always say my college was an expensive party. Because most stuff I knew, like, you know what I mean? I taught myself a lot just out of pure interest.
Yes.
I did learn some stuff. I had a great marketing professor there, and he kind of opened my eyes to some different things. I learned nothing about social media. That wasn't even.
Did they even have
That's
social
what I mean.
media?
Like Facebook was you had to have a college email to even join it. So I took some stuff away from it, but mostly it was a
life experiences has been very good for me.
Good setup for to have fun but also get stuff done.
That's why I went straight into the workforce.
I've also been pretty lucky in the fact that I was good at like last minute cramming. So you know what I mean? So it was always like, all right, let's get this done. You know, through high school, college, I pretty much always operated that way. Put the stress on. I work good under pressure.
Okay. Good to know.
But yeah, so got a little business there, managed the office, state, and then jumped in the realtor game. So in 2008, when you started, had the crash happened?
Mm-hmm. Did
that make it harder to be like, okay, I'm going to do this?
Actually, I don't know that it did. Maybe it did, but for me, I had my best year every year.
Yeah.
So, like in 2008, it was my best year because I didn't have any other years. But, I was so energized and I was so excited. And I particularly remember one realtor, and he was down in the basement going through his files, trying to create his database. And I thought, that's a problem. And, I joined the Chamber of Commerce for my brother, who's Car Wash City, my dad and my brother, who's Car Wash City, 5 years, maybe 4 years before I started real estate, because I knew.
Yeah.
Like, I've been preparing for this since I've been 20 years old. So I've been keeping a database at the state. And when I went to the Secretary of State, I kept a database. And so when I started, I probably had a database of 500 friends, family, and possible contacts.
That's kind of what that was my next question is, was it hard at first? I mean, you had been here a while, so you had a lot of people you knew and friends.
And I'm a social person. Like at the treasurer's office, I was always the one that planned the Christmas party and did the social, and so I was always had contact with a lot of different people. I wasn't just a desk job.
Yeah.
So, and I helped with the campaign. So we helped with the volunteerism and stuff like that. So, I mean, I just like people. So I've always just had those contacts, or I guess gathered those contacts as I went along. Yeah. So, yeah.
It's funny. I always think about just different professions. I always think it'd be fun to just try a profession for a week. And I'm
Come on over.
Well, you know what I mean? It'd be fun to do that. I don't want to do dirty jobs, but a similar thing where you go and do a job for a little while.
That'd be a good video.
I always think that'd be cool. Well, I've thought about doing it wewith businesses in town, we're going to work here for the day. You know what I mean?
There you
but
go. I'd give you some of my experiences.
I'd be like, all right, you can just you can buy that. Don't worry, you're good. So early on, you had a pretty good database. You knew a lot of people. What kind of things back then would you do with marketing to get sales and get new clients and stuff like that?
So
because the real estate game's marketing the way
It
you market
is.
has changed. I mean, everything's changed a
Sure.
lot, but I feel like
Used to do postcards.
yeah, and
Yeah, like,
everyone always
just
the
listed
the
postcards.
little magazine
Oh, yeah?
you get out and
They
see
still
what's
give
for
that
sale.
out.
Yeah, I don't even know where you get
Yeah.
that stuff anymore.
You still get it at the grocery store. Heartland magazine. You know, Christy Davis, who's a good friend of mine, and she was my assistant when I was at the state, and she would come over once a week, and after work, I worked, like during the day, all day. I go in the office every day. Like, I'm not a work from home. Didn't do very well during COVID. But so she would come over after her state job, and like 4:30 or 5, and then we would crank out a week's worth of marketing and work from like 5 till 2 in the morning once a week.
Nice.
We'd get pizza and have a 6-pack,
Yeah.
And then we would just hammer on it. We'd do our just listing postcards, everything that we listed that week. I remember getting my first client. I'm like, they're really going to let me list their house.
What was the house? What was your first house?
I can't tell you because she may be listening.
Well, not the
and then
client.
she's scared. She'd be like, why did I let her? No, she was a friend of mine from the state.
What's the first house you ever sold?
That's the one I can't tell you the address.
Well, I don't need the address. Like, what kind of house?
Oh, it was a ranch, 3-bedroom, 1.5 bath, over here.
Okay.
So, over
That's
here.
got to be memorable.
Yeah.
First house
I have a
sold.
picture of it still.
So was that your first listing and sale?
I think I may have sold others, maybe a few with buyers, but that was my first listing.
Yeah.
So
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's gotta be a cool feeling.
Yeah, it was cool. So, I think relatively fast.
And then so that was 2008.
Mm-hmm.
When did you start incorporating the staging side of it?
I'm trying to think what year.
Because I remember seeing pictures of your garage filled with stuff.
So yeah, I had that was actually a garage in Jerome. So I actually started, I will give credit to 3 people. Bud O'Shea would be my first one. It was his house. Judy Barry Topinka rented one of his houses he had. And when she left, he decided to remodel it and sell it. His daughter had lived in it for a while, way back. And so I was listing it, and I kept hitting my head on the chandelier above where the kitchen table went.
Oh, my God.
And probably 3 times. I thought,
Yep.
okay, dumbass, you should have really figured that out before. But so I thought, I'm going to go get a table, because if I'm hitting my head, then someone else is going to hurt themselves. And so I went to a little shop and bought a little bistro and 2 tables. And then Barb Kruger, who was one of my mentors in real estate, I stayed with her for 2 years, and she kind of just taught me everything she knew. And she went to a couple of my appointments, and we had trainings at her house. And so she was Barb Kruger. Mm-hmm. She was a realtor for a long time. She just retired, but she still teaches.
I wonder if she's related. I had a Corey Kruger in my class.
At Glenwood?
No, at Southeast.
I think she does have a son, and I'm trying to think. I should know his name.
I wonder if it'd be like her brother might have been Corey's dad or something. Maybe I don't know. I'm just guessing.
I'll have to ask.
Yeah, I was just curious.
Have to ask. So her and Joy Gilliland, who was a banker, said, "Well, let's put some stuff on the table, and then I've got some towels, and let's decorate and I'm not." Especially back then, I'm not a decorator. Mm-hmm. My husband always says, "Man, if you'd see this house," I'd be like, "She decorates my house."
Could have sold it for more if you left the shit out of it.
But yeah, because I'm kind of a plain Jane,
no pun intended.
But that actually makes me a better stager. I'm not a decorator. I'm a stager because I know what the buyers are looking for.
Right.
Not necessarily putting, personality into a house. Yeah. And so that's how I started. And then before I knew it, I had a 5x10 little, garage.
Do you know what year that was? Was that right shortly after?
I want to say that was probably 2000. Yeah, it was right after it, because then I kind of was like, "Oh, this is good stuff." And it was before all your staging shows.
Yeah,
we didn't invent staging.
Yeah. What did the client think of it?
He thought
cool?
it was good.
Yeah.
He thought it was good. It made it look a little more homey. We didn't do a ton back then, but a little bit on the fireplace, a little bit in the kitchen, a little bit in the bathrooms, and so that's kind of how it started. And then I went to a 10 by 10 garage, like a warehouse, storage unit. And then I bought I think it was my second rental. I bought my second rental in Jerome because it had a detached separate garage, and it had a separate entrance. So I thought, well, I can rent the house and I can use that for my staging. And then I built a 2.5 car garage on the back of that after a couple of years.
To expand the stage.
And it had no heat and no bathroom. And so, sometimes you're there all day and you're ripping furniture out of the snow, and it's everything. Some things were out. The outdoor patio furniture was outside under a little lean-to. And so
renter didn't just come over like, I need some new furniture out back.
Actually, she's one of my good friends now. And so, and then we bought the place over on West White Oaks Drive for the purpose of expanding and there.
When did you get that? That wasn't
I want to say,
right?
Gosh, my son just told me that all the years as you get older, they
all merges together.
I want to say 16.
Okay.
16, 17.
Yeah,
I know I'm screwing that up.
Wasn't too long ago. But.
No. And then my parents, I remember when I was buying that, I was in Florida, and we had just bought it, and it looked like, if you could pop pictures up here, it was horrible looking.
Yeah, I remember thinking that then, because
horrible.
It
wasn't in foreclosure, but a company from California bought it or owned it and didn't give a crap. And,
I remember when you were giving that place a facelift.
Yeah. Yep.
And we weren't even working together yet, but I just remember like, man, someone's making this place look nice.
Yeah. So my parents said, I drove around Florida and looked at like colors and designs and layouts, and we kind of pulled together an idea, and then I worked with Bud O'Shea, and he helped me make it real. So
nice.
And now it looks like it does. So.
Yeah. Well, anybody that hasn't been to their current place, probably a lot of people have, though. You guys host a lot of events and do fun stuff over there.
Charity events
and let clients utilize it sometimes. It's a nice space over there, though.
Yeah, we like it. We actually just only had our staging stuff over there for a long period, and we still had our office over at the main office at the real estate group out in West Wabash. And then COVID hit, and I was actually going through breast cancer at that time, and my colleagues with the office next to me came down with COVID, and I, back then you were like, and so
we're all dead.
Yeah, so so we were. I remember calling Julie Vono. She's my good friend and office manager, and I'm like, well, what are we gonna do? We can't not work. And so Julie's like, well, why don't we just pull some desks out of staging and go sit at our warehouse? And I'm like, our showroom, we call it. And I'm like, well, that's a great idea. And then we never went back.
Yeah.
Loved it there.
So when did you actually start, like, the team?
Years. You just kind of gradually do it. Like, so I started.
Did you have somebody that came in like, hey, can I shadow you and work with you? Or how was like?
No, I actually I started with Julie, I had another agent that helped me with some secretarial and marketing, and she did some sales. And then she actually moved to Carbondale. And then Julie actually worked for another realtor. And then she started with me. And so she
you're
did.
Way more fun. I'm coming over to you.
Yeah. And so she came over, she did everything, from administration to helping with marketing a little bit. She just did, everything. And then I'm trying to think. Then I had my first agent that joined. That was Kelly Stotler, and And then you just get to the point, you just kind of naturally grow into it. Like, I can't handle the load anymore.
Right.
Me and Christy can't work past 2 in the morning more than one day a week.
Hours in the day.
Yep. Yeah. And, like, again, for years, I was just, like, I was so excited to do it. Like, I was running 7 days a week, 12-hour days, and just because I loved it, and because you're running your own business,
right.
as you know.
You can't miss out on money, right? They might not be there the next day.
Actually, that's not really my motto, but like, if, like in real estate, like if you're not there, you're not working, or you don't see the house, like your client is missing out. And so like, you always feel kind of guilty. Mm-hmm. So, and so that kind of gets you. But I forgot where I was at. Where was I at?
Just talking about getting the team started.
Oh, yeah. So, and you just naturally get busier. So then you had to add Julie, and then you had too much business to handle on your own. And, you're not able to take care of everybody. So then you had an agent
them
join.
The service that you
Yep.
want.
And then I had Aaron join, who's my nephew, Aaron Hogan. He was in sales for Penske for a long time. And I remember every family vacation I would try to talk him in to come work for me, because he's salesperson, and he's a good person. Like, we have certain criteria on our team. It's not just about the deal. Yeah. It's about family, and it's kind of a family mojo, and
got to fit the culture.
Yeah, got to fit the culture. Don't like to upset the mama's apple cart, I would say.
I'll be bringing a square in there.
So, and then recently my son came on. He was at U of I and in marketing advertising, and COVID hit, and he was home, and he'd grown up in, realtor's family, knew I wasn't around. I missed a lot of stuff, unfortunately, and so he kind of knew the gig already, but and he was home, and he just followed me everywhere I went. He went to every appointment I went to. We worked together every day. I would say we didn't get along as well in high school because we're a lot alike, comes to find out. But
and he's a redhead. So,
yeah, I know, just redheads. Now I got 2 redheads in the office. And so we started just really clicking. And then he got his license, and he's I think enjoying it.
So did what did he, and I'd like to have him on separately,
you
but
have to ask him.
But did he during that time, did he, like, before he was following you around and stuff, did he like express interest
I think we
or?
talked about it, and he'd considered it. I mean, he knew it was, a possibility or an option.
Yeah.
I can't remember exactly where we figured that out. That's what it was going to happen. And then, try it out for a while. So,
yeah.
And that was kind of that COVID time. So it was really good. But, like, he probably got what most agents get in 6 years. He got it in about a year and a half. I mean, literally, he drove me around, which is great because I'm working.
Yeah.
He's driving, and he's listening to every conversation I got.
Yeah.
So that's really where you learn a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Negotiation and stuff like that. And
oh my
empathy.
Gosh, we bring people in all the time, like, and they're like, God, I learned more in the first month than I have in all of my schooling.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah, oh yeah, for sure. Especially with social media.
Super interesting when it comes to that. I actually think I have this weird prediction that it sounds crazy, but I think as school gets more expensive, less people are going, I feel like. I don't know if that's a true fact or not,
Just
but it seems like less people are going to college. I kind of feel like people at some point are going to literally pay for internships. Like, 'cause I think of me in college, and I was like applying for these internships with big companies like Sony, Burton, Nike, like, you know what I mean? I was like, God, it'd be so cool to just have a chance to show them what I could do. Because if I get that chance, I guarantee they're going to give me a job because they're going to see how hard of a worker I am. I would have literally paid. Like, if they're like, yeah, you can come do this, it's going to cost you $10,000 though. I probably would have done it. You know what I mean? Just to have that chance.
You pay for school, and
that's what I mean. Yeah. And I did get a call from one of them one time, but it was 8 a.m, and I had been out partying the night before, and that surprise interview did not go so well as I'm laying in my bed hungover.
Well, it worked out okay for you.
Yeah. So, but I don't know. I just feel like that there's so much, you just learn so much, you know what I
Life
mean?
experiences are, I feel like, really important. I mean, like, a lot of my work ethic comes from my parents. My parents are, I mean, I don't know, workaholics are probably not the right word, but like my dad worked all the time. My mom's a huge hard worker. Like they have drive.
What else did he do? Because you said they did car wash cities.
So they started car washes, and then they had a robo in Taylorville, and then I think before he came to Springfield, I think they had 3 or 4 car washes in Taylorville, and then they had one in.
So they're kind of always were in that.
That and laundromats. So they're in the clean business.
Those are 2 good things, man. You guys got to pick up your quarters.
And they tried other entrepreneurships along the way, along with the car washes.
What made him decide that? Do you know?
You know, he's originally from Effingham, and my mom and dad are both from the Effingham area. And him and one of his friends, I think, I don't know if they bought it or started it at a car wash in Effingham, and then he started it in Taylorville.
Yeah, let's get another one.
And so, and he's mechanical.
One, yeah.
I mean,
so
my dad did not go to school,
and
but my dad did not go to college. Basically, he's an engineer.
Yeah.
My other brother that owns Car Wash City now did not go to college. He's an engineer. I mean, he just doesn't have a degree.
Yeah.
He could
fix
build,
whatever.
They build some of the parts that run the car wash.
Wow.
So like,
that's cool.
if he can envision it, he can build it.
See how it works. How many siblings you got?
So I have a sister, my Pam Hogan. So she's used to be a school teacher at the Chatham, and then my oldest brother, who actually is an engineer.
He's the only one that got the official.
Yeah. He's an engineer, and he lives in South Carolina, and he's my oldest. He's the oldest. And then it's my sister, who's 10 years older than me, even though she looks about 10 years younger than me. And then my brother, who's 5 years older. So I'm the baby.
The baby. So. Nice, me too. Well, that's cool. Yeah, it's...
and they're all workaholics.
Yeah, my dad had an entrepreneurial spirit, and I think he got beat down a lot over the years with jobs and just getting screwed over with a lot of different jobs, which is what brought us to Springfield. We used to live in Texas, where I was born, but I think it, and then having a family and trying to provide for the family, I think that he was worried about taking the risks, you know what I mean, that to actually make the jump and do it. Once we got back here, we lived with my aunt, and there was 10 of us in a house, her whole family, my whole family. We lived in the basement until, they finally got on their feet a little bit. And I think at that point he was making, okay money at the state, and he got comfortable. And I think he was just scared of risk. He didn't want to go back there. Yeah, and he knew he had a family to take care of, so he kind of did what he had to do. And but it was always interesting, his ideas and talking to him and stuff. Yeah.
My parent, obviously it's always easier to do those things when you have more of a base.
Yeah.
And so the more money you have, the better, the easier it is to do it. But like my parents didn't start out with any money.
Yeah.
Like they owned the laundromat, and I remember them bringing clothes home to us and be like, well, this
These
fits. And I'm like, underclothes.
Here's your new school clothes.
And that's, we lived a simple life, and we did vacation a lot, simply. Not a lot, but, like once or twice a year, we'd get in the van with the bed in the back and drive to Colorado and stay in
drive everywhere.
Yep, drive everywhere. And those were some of the best times, listening to Kenny Rogers and Dolly Parton.
What do you think throughout that, like, was it seeing them work as hard as they did? Like, do you think that's where you got it from?
Got what?
Just your drive and work ethic, and
I think it's just inborn. I mean, like, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not a psychologist, but some of it was probably that, seeing it. Some of it, I think, we're just built that way.
Yeah. I think about it a lot because obviously I have young kids,
Uh-huh.
and I'm like, I never want them to feel like entitled or whatever
Sure.
that is.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I just try to think of ways to make sure that they can provide for themselves.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
And be successful, good human beings.
Mm-hmm. It's important. It's hard these days too. It's harder.
Yeah. And,
Yeah.
I mean, it's not that we're rich by any means. But I mean, we're definitely live a better lifestyle than I did as a kid.
Sure. Yeah.
And I think some of the lifestyle I did live as a kid made me hungry.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Makes you a better person. I remember my mom. I was distraught. I wasn't really distraught, but felt like it at that time. It felt like a bigger issue. All your friends have Calvin Klein jeans and all this.
Exactly.
And my mom was shopping.
I always wanted a pair of Tommy Hilfiger jeans, the ones with the little hammer thing on the
that's
side.
Way after my time.
Yeah, but my friends all had them, and
yeah. And I remember my mom was shopping for sales at JCPenney's for Lee jeans, and she'd be like, "Okay, it's on sale. Let's go to Springfield," and because we lived in Tiverville, and I was just, I was always like, why can't I, and I wasn't a frilly girl. I was a tomboy, climbed trees and rode bikes and built tree houses and stuff like that. But, I think that looking back now is some of the best stuff she did. I worked a job. I worked every Saturday from the time I was little, even before I could work at the car wash. I counted money. Mm-hmm. So they'd bring money home, and I'd count it from the change machine and stack it and label it and paperclip it and then bundle it, and then we'd take it to the bank, And so that was always our kids' jobs, and then we always helped with the yard.
Yeah.
We always helped with the house. We had chores. And now sometimes it gets easy to be like, not push that because it's just harder for us to push it. I don't want to fight the fight.
Yeah.
But yet sometimes you have to fight the fight.
Right. That's what I talked to my wife about. She's like, you got to pick your battles. And I'm like, I don't feel that way, though. I feel
you still got to pick your battles.
I mean, I definitely do to an extent, but like there's just some things that I feel like even though it's small, they should have to do it this way or do that for, and I just, again, I'm always overthinking things probably, to a fault sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was saying, like I had a newspaper route at age 10 because I wanted to be able to buy stuff, and luckily like my brother started that kind of tradition. He got a newspaper route because he wanted to make money and we didn't have money. The parents didn't give him money. And then my sister was doing it. And then when my brother went away to school, like there was a route that, we could do. So my dad kind of helped me a little bit and started doing the newspaper route, but I had to collect money and, you had these little ticket voucher things you would have to go to collect your money. And, it did the same though. Like it got me used to getting, collecting money, going and trying to sell more subscriptions.
Sure.
As a kid, it's a little easier. It's kind of like, hey, will you buy this paper? Yeah. So a lot of times people would do it just out of the pure appreciating what you're doing. Yeah. Actually, funny story, Ryan's grandparents lived behind me my whole life.
Really?
Yeah, they used to let me cut through their yard to get to the other street. But yeah, they were a client forever.
Okay.
So that was funny when we figured that out after he started working for me. Yeah.
So you didn't know?
No.
Oh wow. Okay.
No,
That's
he was
wild.
going to his grandparents one day or something, and I was like, "Oh yeah, where do they live at?" And he was like, "Over on College." I was like, "Really? Where at?" I was like, "No way! That's literally right behind my house."
Okay, that's wild.
Yeah, it was super weird. And then first teammate over here.
Yeah.
Knew his grandparents basically my whole life.
So yeah, I mean,
R.I.P.
we grew our
Grandpa.
team, just like you grew your team.
He just passed away recently.
Oh, sorry, Ryan.
So yeah, that was cool, and that eventually after my sister went to school, my dad and I were doing. I think we had like 300 or 400 houses that we delivered to.
Wow.
And it became a thing on Sunday morning.
Yeah.
You had those giant papers, so we'd sit there.
Roll them.
my mom would get involved, and one person would drive, one person would deliver, one person would band them up, and it was just we had a whole system down. So that helped too, like learning process.
Yeah.
It's kind of like an assembly line.
Life lessons.
Yeah, and it's weird because it's just so different now. They just don't have as many jobs like that. You know what I mean, for kids. And, I mean, my kids, they come in here and I try to make them do stuff. I'm like, and some of them like doing some of it, so it makes it a little easier. Like my youngest son's obsessed with vacuums.
There you go.
So I'm like, here you go. Here's a little handheld vacuum, and I have him go around and get all the little spots where there's a piece of paper or something. Give him like $1.
Yeah, it's teaching them. It is.
Yeah,
but sometimes it takes you more time to do it.
It does, yeah. But luckily, like when they're here, I ain't getting much done anyway. So at least doing something that helps the business and the kids out.
There you go.
So you're in your new space over there. How many people are on the team now?
So I have 4 agents. I have 2 admins. So Julie Vono and Heidi, and then I got Josh Wazalewski, who does everything, like our handyman, drives our trailer and fixes stuff, and kind of he's our jokester. So there's that's 9.
9?
Is it 9? 4?
8 or 9?
5, 6,
Somewhere
7,
around.
8.
Yeah, you said you kind of just started adding more people as you needed it, and just kind of was organic. And I've been thinking about that a lot lately too, because it's like with this business, I just kind of started hiring. Like, all right, we're busy. We're busy. I guess we'll hire somebody else.
Yep.
And not really with like, here's the end goal. It was just kind of like, this is happening. And then all of a sudden, like the other day, I was like, Jesus, we got 15 people.
Yeah, it's a lot of people.
This is crazy.
It's a lot of people to manage.
Yeah, I was like, this is craziness. And, it comes with its challenges as you have more people, I'm sure. As you know. And it's like, just kind of thinking back on it. It's like, man, this was weird. Yeah, how did we get here?
Yeah, and you grew pretty quickly. So I grew pretty slowly.
I mean, early on, I was kind of scared of growth. And we probably could have grown a lot faster, but it's also like maybe that wouldn't have been a good thing. And that's partially what I was scared of too, is like growing too fast and then potentially get, shooting yourself in the foot.
Yeah. Learn the ropes before you like.
Yeah. And really, the right people has always been a challenge, getting the right people in there. And before you really feel comfortable to like, okay, now let's go. Let's do this.
Yep.
Dialing in process, and
you're going to make mistakes. It's part of the, my girlfriend gave me a plaque once, or actually it's a pencil holder, and it says, if your dreams don't scare you, they're not big enough.
I like that.
And so I've always kind of stayed with that, but also like, you're going to make mistakes in life, and business, and I think you learn from those. So I think that's where the life experiences are important too. Yeah. Not are you just learning things, but you're learning to fail and get back up, what's good and what's not good,
Yeah.
So I think all my jobs have taught me what I needed to know.
Yeah.
So
preparing for it your whole life. What would you say has been one of the biggest challenges, like during this time and growing your team and, just all of it?
That's a stumper. The biggest challenges. I would say like managing emotions.
Like yours or people's?
Everybody's. Yeah. Like that comes from the office staff. You're dealing with when they go through a hard time, you go through a hard time. When they have financial issues, you have because I could tend to take it on. But also your clients, that's kind of probably the biggest and the hardest part of my job, or all our jobs.
It's an emotional time for people.
It is. It's I think the leading the most emotional thing you'll do in your life.
Yeah.
Stressful. Besides divorce, and sometimes it's divorce and selling a house. And then, woo.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Usually, a lot of times it's both of them at once.
Selling a house is not always a happy thing.
Right.
Someone might have passed away. Someone might be downsizing and going to active retirement, and they're not ready for it, or they don't feel like they're ready for it. It might be a divorce. It might be a breakup. So, walking into a house and knowing that they want more for the house than it's worth, and they're getting a divorce. And you're trying to manage the wife and the husband and that whole, there's been years of, bad feelings there, and you're just walking right in.
Yeah.
And so
jumping in the middle.
knowing how to kind of manage that. And some of that came from working in a law firm for 10 years and dealing with divorce. And I think that's where a lot of my customer service comes from too. Just because, you might not have the answer, but they just want to hear from you, And I always think of that, they don't want to hear from the attorney because they're going to charge it maybe for a quarter hour. But, I would call him and I just talk to him on the phone. I would, I feel like a lot of times like a counselor.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm good at that aspect, partly because of that, just listening, and just kind of taking it all in. But calling them and saying, okay, I don't really have an answer for you yet, but I know I told you I would call today. And so I just kind of wanted to touch base with you and see how you're doing.
Yeah.
But I remember
Good
fighting over a
service.
weed eater from one time, husband and wife. I don't know how many thousands of dollars they spent on fighting over this weed eater that no one really wanted.
It's about the principle. You don't even use the weed eater.
You don't even know how to use the weed eater. Anyway, so.
It's interesting because, sometimes, people think that they want to sell their house or buy a house and not use a realtor, but when it's those emotional times, having that help, I think probably helps a lot.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things. I mean, a lot of people think they can sell their house, and a lot of people have sold their own house.
I did it, and it was annoying as hell.
Yeah.
I will contest, it was terrible.
Yeah. I mean, first of all, there's a lot to it, especially in this market. There might be a lot of money you're leaving on the table. We might be able to pay for ourselves by the money we can make you in advance, plus not having you deal with, the contracts and the showings and, just all the contracts and the disclosures and the home inspections and the short appraisals and the, what do I do? Well, you don't do anything. That's what we do, so taking that kind of off of them.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's a lot of liability, I would say, if you're doing it yourself.
Yeah.
And everyone thinks they know what they're doing.
As soon as you miss something.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
buyers trying to pull one over
we got
on
a
you.
situation right now, and the house is it's a mess. And when they bought it, they didn't use a realtor, and they had no inspections. I mean, none.
That's crazy.
None.
Is the bank involved? Doesn't the bank require inspections? No. Interesting.
Not always,
Yeah.
and they shouldn't. I mean, that's really, I mean, I get, but
Yeah.
but.
Guess, yeah,
Maybe
if
they
you're
should
making
if they're not
choice,
using a
kinda taking on
realtor.
the
But,
liability.
we would have recommended, hey, you should have a septic inspection. Hey, you should,
Right.
so.
Yeah, man. I've talked to people numerous times about owning a house, and I'm like, I mean, obviously it's a good investment, but there's a lot of fucking stress that comes with it too. You got to have a little bit of some money saved.
You need a Josh Wazalewski that can help you fix.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's just the furnace goes out or this or that. It's you got to be ready to drop some money to fix something.
You bet. It's, and when you don't do it right, and that's, especially first-time home buyers, you never want them to get into a house where they're going to have to do the roof and the furnace and the windows all in a short period of time, because they're only going to live there 5 to 7 years.
Right.
And
it's nice, too, there's a lot of people that don't know those people, and you guys obviously have a ton of connections with all the years you've been in the game.
Yeah.
For whatever
a lot
it
of people
is.
come back to us and say, hey, we need a roofer, or we need this, or who do you know that can do that? So, we talk to our clients years and years after they get done, forever. Most of our clients become our friends. Like most of our business, I think 96% of our business is all referrals or repeat clients. Yeah. So, I mean, that's a true testament to how well we take care of our clients, I feel like. And that's the best way to be doing business.
Yeah.
So
100%.
So
evangelist, as we call it.
Yeah.
We've implemented some new CRM, and in it you can tag people as like one-time clients, like evangelists, like someone that is out there speaking for
client
you.
A, client B, client C. Like
yeah.
We did. What CRM are you using?
HubSpot.
Okay. How do you like it?
Yeah, it's all right.
Okay.
It has a lot of good stuff, but the way that sometimes you're like, do you guys even freaking use this thing? You know what I mean? Like,
I know. I've been needing one for like 10 years, and I just keep using Outlook because I'm like,
yeah.
I don't.
The implementation of it has been a pain in the ass.
It's really hard to set up, and then if you want to get out, then
it's all over again. You got to do it again. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm going to give it a couple years and see.
Okay. Let me know.
Obviously, we're on like subscription base here, so switching everybody over is crazy. Like Julie reached me out to me. She's like, "Is this a scam?" And I'm like, "No, that's me." I'm like, "That was a legit email." Because you got to explain, like, all right, I need you to switch over, and it's like, I need you to sign and pay this, like, put your information in right away, otherwise it's going to miss your next renewal.
Like, give me your credit card. Yeah, no, thank you.
And you hate, and it's just, I hate anything that we have to do that I know is annoying to a client. Yeah. Like just switching approval process, like that type of stuff like that. And it's like, it's frustrating when you do that, but
hopefully it works out for you.
Try to figure out what's the best move, one thing at a time.
Hard to find time to do such a big project like that. That's what we always find. We try to do one project a year, but it's a lot of work.
And I had my guy at the time, I'm like, all right, I want to, we did it at the end of last year. I was like, I want this rocking and rolling by February. Mm-hmm. And we're still like finalizing it. It's like, Jesus Christ.
Some of it's, I mean, like, I find myself, like, I didn't make the time to do it.
Yeah. I mean, some of it's my fault for sure, too. It's like, again, switching the things over and the subscriptions and contacting. Mm-hmm. I just knew it was going to be this undertaking. Like, I got to email everybody, and then I got to make sure the first month's invoice gets, their new payment method gets added. And it's like, I still got to go back and double check everything because we just switched that over. It's like, it's frustrating.
I get charged double this month. I'm going to know. I'll better check my bill.
I had a process. So when your son got started, how did that feel?
It was good.
Were you like
there's been
excited about it?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I was very excited.
Legacy can live on a little bit.
Yeah. I hope this is what he continues to do, but you never know that either.
Yeah.
But I think he's very good at it. I think when he was young, I worried about like the empathy that a lot of young people haven't matured with yet.
Right.
And so I think that year and a half when we hung out during COVID, and he saw with clients, well, this is much more than just getting the transaction done. This is really changing people's lives, or helping people through some good or bad circumstances that are very stressful. So I think he picked that up and grew with that a lot. So then that's been really good. So, but yeah, no, I now have Cody now too, and Erica Britton. So Cody Houston and Erica Britton joined. Erica joined last year, and Cody Houston joined this year. So that's been fun. So we never want to be like this big, huge super team because it's too, it's just like my parents did, really. It's like, it is a family, and your workers are family, and they're, you go to work every day. We sit in the same room, talk about, what happened on the weekend. And a lot of times we're together sometimes on the weekend. And that's really hard if you don't, if you don't get along. Mm-hmm. So,
Yeah, I always tell whenever there's a problem or something, or somebody's complaining about something somebody else did or whatever that may be, I try to use I basically am just like, look, we're all in a relationship.
Yeah.
It's just like being married or having a girlfriend, and like, I can get involved if you want me to.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's better for your relationship to just try to talk it out with them and express your frustrations and why you're frustrated about what you're frustrated about.
Yeah.
I usually end up getting involved, but but still, like, you know what I mean? Just being able to talk and that's, I sometimes, in me and my wife's relationship, sometimes I'm not the best at that, so
we all fail at that sometimes here and there.
But it is interesting how
if you're
that
never
works.
home, you don't have to talk much.
But it is interesting how that works, and just talking stuff through, regardless of what it is can be so helpful for anything.
Communication is huge. So
it's definitely
huge. But the challenge of running a business is probably, when you ask, the most challenging. It's just, there's a lot. Like, you're trying to do marketing, and you're trying to pay the bills, and you're trying to actually pay the bills. And then, which Christy, my girlfriend that worked for me at the state, she still comes once or twice a month, and she helps me pay my bills.
That's really
nice. So she still comes over and we eat pizza and drink a 6-pack of beer.
So let's get this.
It's tonight.
You're not taking my pizza and beer appointment away. What are you talking about?
We actually have fun with it. So, but tonight's bill paying night. So.
Sounds like a riveting one.
It's actually it's pretty fun. we can make anything fun. So. Even bill paying.
Yeah.
But she has fun spending my money, I think.
Yeah, there you go. So you guys have an exciting move coming up. Is this public? We can discuss this?
I don't know. When are you airing?
Probably today or tomorrow.
Oh. Yeah, I think so. I still have a couple people to talk to, but I guess I'll call them today. No, we bought the building over where the Funny Bone used to be, and used to also be Scoobies and Sticks for all you older people.
Yeah. I went in there one time, I think. I don't even know if I was allowed to be. I don't know.
Probably you snuck in, didn't you? That's what you're saying. So we bought that 2019. Kind of for future expansion. And then we were planning on moving in there in a couple years, and then COVID hit. And then Addis Adult Daycare, that's what was there, but mostly it's just a home health care. But Addis is in there. And so they decided to stay for the rest of their lease, because they got busier during COVID, which is fine.
Yeah. And
they're good, they're good tenants and pay good money, and I was probably smart for me to slow down a little bit. Someone told me to slow down a little bit, but they their lease is over, and they move out at the end of November, and then we will start construction. So it's kind of my dream thing. It's everybody wants to.
How many square feet is that place?
14.
Wow.
14,000. So right now we have 5 in the building we're at, and then we have 3 in the actual building that we're moving to. It's just a separate little part of it, and that's where we keep all our outdoor furniture. So again, we're divided. Like we got our indoor furniture in one, and we got our outdoor furniture in another. So, that's the plan, is to move our offices over there, and then we'll have all our staging stuff over there, and then we'll have a little banquet / reception spot where we can host events, and we'll rent it out. I think somehow we're working with the city right now.
Yeah, figure all the details out there. I didn't realize how much of I didn't realize that it had like frontage on that pond.
Yeah, that's why I bought it.
Yeah.
I'll never live on a lake. I've always wanted to live on a lake. Now I've realized it's too much work to live on a lake, and I don't want to ever move. So I love my house.
Yeah.
And,
I was talking with Brandon in our emerging leaders group that we're in together. That was this morning, and we were at a table together, and I don't know how we got on the subject, but I think it was something with the conversation we were having, and he was showing me pictures of it, and I was like, oh shit, I didn't realize it was on the pond like that. I was like, that's going to be freaking awesome.
Yes, it is. So I get a view of the pond from my office.
It's your lakefront. You're probably there more anyway.
Yes, I
am. Enjoy your waterfront view.
There you go. And we can sit outside, and if we have events. I mean, so like Bella Bar, I don't know if you've ever been over to
for the first time the other day. For
it's a very cool place.
We did I got asked to walk in the Style of Hope, and that's where we had our little meeting or whatever. So I'd seen pictures, but I'd never been back there.
So we had that, concept before, like we get people into our staging facility where we have our furniture, and, that's very powerful. That's our marketing tool, basically, getting them in there. And our staging stuff will be separate now than the meeting room, but it has the garage doors that are clear, so they'll still see our staging stuff.
Oh,
cool. But the pond is obviously the attraction.
Yeah.
That's why I bought the building.
Yeah.
So.
No, that's super cool. That would be exciting.
Yeah.
So I assume there's probably going to be a little bit of benefit to your clientele too.
Yeah, I would think so. I would think so. We'll have, I'm involved. We will rent it. Where right now we just let people use it because the bank tells me I have to.
Yeah.
So I don't have to, but I'm also involved with lots of charities and organizations, so I'm sure that will play into that as well.
Yeah.
Like helping some of those out. But as my bank tells me, you gotta be careful about that. Like you've got to rent it. So.
Right. Yeah. Okay, I understand that for sure.
So.
Yeah, you guys are, and maybe this is pure ignorance, but I feel like you guys do a lot more with the community, with events and fundraising and all that stuff. Just, I don't feel like I see other realtors doing it at your level as much.
I think I just always had a love for giving back, and just kind of being involved. Especially in my community. And so, I just feel like I enjoy it. So it's a great way to get business as well. But I tell all my agents, I said, don't be involved in something just to get business. That's just not, that's not
enjoy
real.
Doing
be
it,
real,
for sure.
Enjoy doing it. And
so I tell people about this podcast all the time. I ain't making any money off of this. If anything, I'm losing money, but I enjoy doing it and sitting down having conversations and learning. And
well, the more you learn about people, the more you can help them. So, but I'm, when I had breast cancer back in 2018, I was like, okay, I got to get off some stuff. And so me and my husband made an agreement that I would get off some stuff. And if I was going to get on something, I got to get off of it. But really, it hasn't really worked like that. I haven't got on anything new without getting off of something. But I think I've got rid of one, but then I added one. So I think I'm on 8 boards.
Yeah.
And then
it's all
those have subcommittees. And
I've been on a lot of boards, and almost all of them I've just got to a point where it's like, look, I'm not upholding my end of being on this board.
Correct.
Why you guys asked me to be here. You know what I mean? I've never been asked to leave, and never felt like I needed to, but I just trying to look out for the best for the board.
You want to do things 110%. And that's where sometimes I've had to say no. I got asked to do something the other day, and I said, I just can't. I can't this year with the building. And if I can't, I'm going to do something 110%. So that means another couple hours of sleep I'm not getting, and at some point I got to take care of me, and
for sure,
which I don't do very well, but, do all that workout and yoga stuff that I don't do. And, again, you want to do it right.
Yeah.
So, because if you're not doing it right, other people see that. And then,
and
I think that's where a lot of my businesses come from, helping those organizations out and being involved. And then you get to know, and a lot of my best friends, have come from those organizations. Chatham Chamber area Commerce is
yeah, you guys, I feel like have blown that up quick. Was it it was a thing before the last couple of years?
I've been on the board since 2006. So I joined was it 2005 or 2006? So I joined the board before I got into real estate. So I've been on the board since then. So almost 20 years.
So what happened? I feel like just in the last 2 or 3 years, I even knew there was a Chatham Chamber of Commerce. Did you guys just decide to expand outside of Chatham a little bit?
No, it's always been the Chatham area, but obviously people work in Springfield that live in Chatham and vice versa.
Yeah,
work
yeah.
in Chatham. We got a new, I'll give some kudos, but we got a new director, might have stole her from the school district. Sorry. Not really. But and Betsy Schroeder a couple years ago.
Yeah, she's great.
And she's phenomenal. And I think we were going that direction. That's the way we wanted to go, But I think she kind of pushed that, and then she got a lot of other people to help, Jeff
brought
Dillon
in a
from
good
Masco.
board.
Tracy
Yeah.
Formey is always. I think Tracy Formey she's been on the board since I've been there as well. I think she's been president like 4 times because every time someone steps away, she's got to jump back in there. But I think I've been president twice. But that's that's not a charity one, but it's good for my community.
Yeah.
And it does good things. And then we do a lot with the JCs, Chatham JCs, which is a phenomenal organization. Like just the amount of work, they do light up the park and they do Paws and Palooza. I mean, it's Friends of the Park does some of those, but like the Chatham JCs it's the same people.
Yeah.
It's the same workers. So
Is JC's like, because I don't know if it's a Springfield JC's, but is that like a national thing? It is?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Yeah, JC's is a big national thing.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah. So.
Like I knew they put on some of the parades and I didn't know there was, as a Chatham JC's, I just figured it was the same
There's
thing.
a Springfield JC's and there's a Chatham, and then there's lots of different JC's, and there's a state JC's. And so, and then national. So.
Yeah. No, you it seems like, again.
I probably didn't know about it before, getting involved with probably the Chatham Chamber. So
Yeah.
we help them out a lot, and they.
Well, just
they help us
between
out.
your little, you guys have different people speak and luncheons and just all these little different things that are nice whenever I have time to make them too.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I can always, and I feel like you guys are fair with how you handle like pricing and charging for stuff.
Yeah. I mean, we are probably the most affordable for what you get.
Yeah.
And it's not so
Some
big that you
groups
get
are
lost.
like, what am I paying for?
Yeah.
I pay this.
It's like $150.
Yeah, it's like I pay $400 to be a member, and then I got to pay to come to events. Also, like, you know what I mean? It's like, what is this now? Obviously, if you're like providing lunch or doing something, it's understandable. But some of these groups, it's like, what is going on?
Yeah. Well, some of them are really expensive, and I'm not saying that they're still not good organizations. They're just like, it's expensive, and small businesses is what you're trying to help and do, and small business can't afford $1,000 or $500 or something like that sometimes. So no, it's been good. That, and then I got Titan Fuel, which is probably my second favorite, which is the food assistance program that.
Oh yeah, doesn't your sister start
no, that's
that, or?
Superheroes.
Oh, Superheroes. Okay.
That's the one her and a friend started. That's a leadership program for boys and now girls, and she runs that. It's a not-for-profit. Runs it through the Chatham School District and does it for all the grade schools, middle school, and intermediate school. Pretty important. But Titan Fuel is the food assistance program that.
When you guys are dropping off the food thing.
So we do, started it, 8 years ago. Me and about 4 or 5 other girls. And we packed bags, community people and kids, like football team or the soccer team or Boy Scouts, or they pack bags on every other Wednesday night, and then Josh Wazalewski from my office gets our trailer and takes them and drops them off at all the schools, and then they get to the kids on Fridays for the weekends so they have food.
Nice.
And because it's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
How many kids do not, like, my husband's a football coach there, and he'll come home and like someone's living in a hotel.
Yeah.
Someone needs an apartment, like,
crazy.
and they're not
Isn't
living in
it
a hotel
hard?
because they're trying to get into the district. They're living in a hotel because they just got kicked out of their house.
Isn't it hard to just not like oh, I'm just going to take care of them. Let's just do it. You know what I mean?
It's not hard when you do it, Andrew.
Well, I mean, but like, even like when you don't have the means to,
I know.
You know, like, again, we're not rich by any means, but like, we try to do what we can, but it's like, God, I wish I could do more for this family or whatever it is. Like the people that really need it. And it just sucks because there's so many people that don't need it and they just game the system.
Yeah.
And it's
and
like,
you don't know who, and
Yeah, it's like there would be more for the people that actually need it if the people that would just stop being lazy would.
Yeah.
And that's the frustrating part
It is. And so that one has grown from, I think we were doing 50 bags in a pilot program. I don't even know how many bags Josh delivered today.
That's every week.
So the kids get them every week, but we deliver and pack them every other week. So I want to say, well, he fills the trailer twice and delivers tubs to all the schools.
How is it like picked out? Like who gets
So the
them?
counselors help us with that, but like free and reduced is a guidance. And then the parents have to sign up, and or the counselors contact them if they know, counselors a lot of times, or teachers. We go talk to all the schools. Meredith Ferguson and I go talk to all the schools and talk to the teachers and kind of train them, like, not train them, but like make sure they know, like, hey, we need your eyes. We're not in the schools. We don't even know who the kids are. We don't have their names. The school district's great, always worked with us. And they're on, superintendent's usually on our board. A lot of the teachers are on our board. So we're now a 503c, not-for-profit. And I mean, $100,000 worth of food a year. I mean,
that's crazy.
Kicking out there,
That's awesome, man.
And then we have.
What's the best way for somebody to get involved with that if they wanted to?
We do have a Facebook page, Titan Fuel, and it's got a little backpack on it. You can pack. I will tell you, the packs are usually full for the year about the time we get started to even schedule them. Not always, but Paul Brown's our volunteer coordinator, and like, I think what I like best about the project is not only is it helping the kids that need the food, but I think it helps the kids that are involved in it, that are helping the organization, helps them more. Because it's just like we were talking about, like learning young, learning.
My wife's mom used to make them go like help at the bread line. I think it was that they would go do.
Yeah. And I think creating that empathy is important. And
seeing it, like, damn, we got kids need all, what I mean? Because you don't know what you don't know.
Kids in their school. They're like, oh, we're packing for, Glenwood Intermediate right now. That's my school. Like, there's kids that don't eat. Like, what do you mean? And so
we always give away whenever the kids are done with their clothes or toys or whatever, we always go give them away. And why are you giving away our toys? And we're like, you haven't played with this forever. And there's kids that would love to have this and try to, explain to them.
One thing my parents did, and my dad and mom, obviously, and I think it really hit home with my kids, or at least it hit home with me, is my dad would give the grandkids $100. And he'd say, give it away at Christmas to someone you think needs it, and then come back and talk about why. And then at Christmas, we'd all get together.
I gave it to my friend Sam. He wanted a new video game.
Well, that's not quite what he was talking about. But, and, I found that, because we'd start it, around Thanksgiving. And I remember, I think it was Brandon, would watch kids what they needed, came home and this kid's been wearing the same sweatshirt for 4 days in a row. You would not have noticed that probably, especially a guy, if he wouldn't have been looking for that. So they look for it for a while, and then we went out and bought some clothes and a football and some Titan gear, and we sent it through the counselor, and then. Then he showed up the next day, and he was just excited and happy, and
it's life changing.
Yeah, and that's where kids learn. Is helping other kids, and not just because they have to. That was kind of fun for them. Dad stopped doing it after a while, for, all kinds of reasons, nothing bad, but
Yeah.
but we continued it because we thought it was important.
That's cool. I like that. It's an interesting idea.
See, that's something you can do with your kids this Christmas.
Interesting.
So, and it just, so those kids packing those bags, I think it does just as good for them too.
No,
So,
that's awesome.
yeah.
We do at Christmas time. There's what is it? It's a giving tree or something like that.
Where you go by.
Yeah. And, I think how does my wife do it? I think we get one for each of us in the family, or one for every kid we have. So we have 3 kids. We'll get 3, three other kids to match on it. And we go buy them
churches and
we go buy them whatever they're on their wish list, and try to get the kids to understand what's going on and why we're doing it. I think this year will be big for that because they're actually at ages where they can understand a little bit more. My oldest is 5 and then 4, so they'll have a greater idea of what's happening.
Sure.
It's. Honestly, I would love to be rich just so I could do more stuff for people.
What would you do if you won the lottery? Like, I'd give half of it back,
to do more things. Because
it feels
nice,
good, but that's not why you do it. But it's all around good. It helps other people.
I was with my dad on a road trip one time, and somebody was on an on-ramp or an off-ramp when we were road tripping, and it was just me and him, and he pulled over and gave the guy a couple $100. And I was like, why'd you do that? How do you like, you really think he needs it? Like, he's not just, and he's like, you can't judge whether you think they need it or not. You just kind of have to do it and hope that they're doing it for the right reasons, or they're there for the right reasons, or they actually need it.
Yeah.
So that was always interesting. Something that's kind of stuck with me a little bit.
Sure.
But yeah.
I can always envision what that guy did. Yeah, the guys on the
pick up a 6-pack and go. Well, we got him a good time for the night at the very least. So that's awesome. No, it's cool. And I definitely want to say thank you to you because you guys have been a longtime client, and we appreciate that a lot. And it's obviously helped us get to where we are,
and vice versa.
One thing we've talked about more and more is I read this book that Start With Why. And
okay.
People don't buy what you're doing, they buy why you do it.
Okay.
So thinking about that, it's like, why do we do this? Like, why do I do this? Why do we do this? And, a lot of it is we just enjoy doing it.
Yeah. Work hard.
But and what I realized is like, well, what we do helps, and we've always talked about like if we, our clients are partners, and if we can help them grow, we'll grow right along with them.
Sure.
So I came up with this "Let's Grow Together" slogan that we've been using, and what I try to now instill in the team is like, what we're doing helps these businesses grow, and most of our clients are local.
Sure.
And when we can help our clients grow, that now we're helping them create jobs. And as they grow, we'll grow right along with them and also create jobs.
Sure.
And all of that stimulates the local economy. And the impact that we're having overall is way greater than just helping somebody make more money. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's a way better way to think of it. And it's true. It also motivates people.
It helps, with, thinking day to day, just having that purpose of what you're doing and why you're doing it. So I've been trying to do more of, instilling that in people, and especially new people starting. So,
yeah.
But yes, thank you very much for
welcome.
helping us get where we are. I appreciate, I always, it's tough because like, our packages and everything have changed over the years, and bills have gotten more expensive, and, overhead, and we charge more than we used to, but there's a lot of clients that I've never gone back to, and because I hate
trying to tell me you're going to raise.
By the way, that new no
got you a plant,
but it's a nice plant. I don't know if you could see it in the camera, but staging by Jane Hay over here, permanent staging, and Yeah. So anyway, I don't even know what I was saying.
I derailed you.
It's all
Sorry.
right. It's okay.
I'm good at that.
So anyway, well, you
Yeah.
guys got a lot of exciting stuff going on, and
We
I
do.
think, I think it's good for people to know when they do business with you that you guys are giving back a lot too, and and that helps in that effort.
Yeah. Shop local, give local,
Yeah.
support local.
And, it's weird. A lot of times when people think about buying local, they think about just going to a store or something, but there's so many more things. Like I never even thought about it. Like when somebody's shopping with us, like that's buying local. And I never really thought about it until the last couple of years. It's like, cause there's people that I know that are subbing out some of their stuff to people in India and, these places, which I understand, if you're tight on, your money or whatever, we're not for everybody by any means. But I'm like, yeah, why wouldn't, let's shop in local here.
Yeah. Keep it all local. I'm
And
very big local person.
I try to do the same as much as I can. And
Yeah.
it's like,
It's not always possible. Like I probably might have an Amazon box or something. But like it's important to I even try to consider where I'm buying my gas, because where's that tax dollar go? Am I buying that in my hometown, or
right.
am I buying that on the road?
Yeah.
So get it here.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I appreciate you coming on today.
Thanks for I'm glad to be able to make it today.
Yes. No injuries as of now. We got to be careful on the ride home.
Yeah. I got to go by a store on the way home, so I'll make sure I'm safe.
It's their fault
Got
after
it
that. So we'll appreciate it. And best way for people to find you if they're looking to buy or sell a home.
Yeah. You can call me at 217-414-1203, or find me on Facebook, Jane Hay Sales and Staging. We got some funny videos always on there that Ootbox has made. I think we got one coming up, tomorrow. Corn maze. Bomke's.
Shout out Bomke.
Bomke's Pumpkin Patch. So thanks to them.
I'm excited to see that.
Josh Wazalewski, our handyman, came up with that idea. So
Yeah.
it's a team.
Yeah.
Comes up.
That's
So,
nice.
yeah.
Power of multiple minds.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well,
You bet.
appreciate it,
Thanks
Jane.
for having me.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye.